Hey, patrons. Welcome to the Utah Outcasts Secret Patron Show. Fuck, I'm tired. I wanted to take a second to thank you guys for all your support. If you're hearing this right now in the... it's the midst of January, so it's going to be mid-July before you guys get to hear this kind of stuff out there. You're missing out on a lot of stuff, and you could be hearing it all for just $1 a week. Anyways, regardless of how you're catching the show, we're glad to have you along. And on this week's episode of the Secret Patron Show, we are, and this is mainly due to the fact that we had this week on the old episodes come up on the podcast feed. We're going to do the getting to know you section, where the last time we did this, we talked a bit about what's weird stuff about the panelists we might not know about. But I was hoping Jeff was going to be here, only because he's the newest panelist and it would be fun to kind of like dig into his past a little bit. But unfortunately, he's not here tonight. God damn my plans, X. So instead, we're going to talk about, we're just going to riff on whatever we want to talk about. And Felicia, you had a pretty interesting topic that you wanted to bring up. And
yeah,
go ahead.
So everyone seems to think that they can do stand-up.
No.
Like, no, you cannot. So, I mean, everyone who is conversationally funny or can, throw out a fairly good, that's what she said, thinks that they can do the stand-up and, or they think that they're a particularly good storyteller in a social setting. And so they go to open mic night and they fucking bomb. Like, they're not good. Nobody thinks they're funny. And I don't know. It's something all three of us have talked about, and all three of us have some history in performing arts.
Yeah.
And the thing is that stand-up is a performing art. You have to work on that shit. And I don't know, it's just so funny to me. Everyone seems to think like that they're so funny. Not everyone, but everyone who is funny in a conversation seems to think that they are good on a stage. Mm-hmm. And on a stage is a completely different monster. And I don't know. It's just what do you guys think? Like, what is something that everyone seems to think that they are not, I guess, when it comes to stand-up?
For me, there's a lot of people out there that think they are personally relatable to a lot of the audience out there. And a lot of your guys' story, people that live here in Utah, be like, hey, I go to church every weekend. No, that's not going to relate to a lot of people. That not specifically, but I'm just saying that, living in a 360,000 square foot house with living in debt up to your eyeballs of stuff, that's not going to relate to a lot of the lay people out in the world out there. And, trying to make a joke, be like, so I was sitting in my loft the other day and I was thinking to myself, like, no, that's not going to work, man. I mean, there's many other things that work out there, but the thing is, like, what works in comedy is honesty and tragedy, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy is honestly tragedy with time. And so I tend to think of a lot of my most self-deprecating stories that I could bring up, That's the reason I bring up the watching my parents' sex tape kind of thing. Is because it makes me go, oh God, at the time. But like now that it's been 20 years, I'm like, that was fucking funny.
That's funny as shit. Funny as shit. That's hilarious.
One of the big misconceptions or mistakes that a lot of people will make when they go into an open mic, or they think they're going to give stand-up a try. There's a big difference between creating comedy and adding comedy.
Right.
So you can throw out a joke, riff off of a situation or something somebody said in conversation, and have it be very, very funny, genuinely funny. You can be funny in that moment, in that context. But if you remove that context, it doesn't work. Right. So I've seen
the context.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck having jokes that work in Utah work outside of Utah.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go to open mic, and they start by trying to build that context. So they start telling a story, and it's not funny.
So I was at this place, and it's really funny because this guy was like kind of well known about the group, and like then
perfect example.
I was
like Felicia, let's just say, like, I totally went to dinner at Lakai the other day, and Kerry Jackson from X96 came in, and he totally told me I look like a duck. And it's like, no, that doesn't work, because like 9 out of 10 things in that conversation don't fucking work.
But if there's a context, now in a conversation, somebody mentions a duck, and you're like having a conversation, you're like, and then you're like, you're within it, and you're like, oh, this one time, this one guy called me a duck, and here's how it went. Now that could be funny, but a lot of people are so if you're going to do storytelling comedy, you better be prepared to build a goddamn picture. You paint that picture. Bitch. Yeah, that is a very difficult kind of comedy. Another thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, like, oh, this one kills me, is everyone wants to be the cool comedian.
Not
and yeah, right. I think that the far most successful people are and a lot of people they end up seeing these people as cool anyway. But the ones that are successful are the ones that are willing to make a fool of themselves, because on stage is a very different monster than film.
Real life, yeah, and film and everything else,
than real life. So when you are performing in front of a group, if you can go bigger than you think is normal, that you think should be received, that is the right way to go. Go bigger, go more extreme, because on the stage, things don't translate very easily unless they're highly dramatic. And I think that you see a lot of people go up there and they're going to be the cool person, and they want to go up there, but they don't want to make a fool of themselves, right?
But
they don't want to be seen as silly. But if you're going to go and do this, you have to be willing to make a fool of yourself. Think of
90% of my comedy is self-deprecating.
What's her name? Joan Rivers. She goes up there and she talks about being old and her breasts dragging on the floor, right? And she does this big dramatic, like, oh, and you get old and your breasts just, and you're like stepping on them. And she's like making, like, she's like walking around with a microphone acting like she's stepping on her own breasts. That's fucking hilarious.
Oh man, Joan went blue till the day she died. I fucking love that woman.
Joan Rivers was hilarious. She was a goddamn comedy genius.
Yep.
And you don't have to like hate yourself. There is a correlation with some comedians suffering from depression, but there's a lot of other ones that just don't. But it's the idea that you can.
It definitely takes a shitty marriage, though. Let me tell you
that. I got one in the bag. I got one just like tucked right over here. That's comedy.
Well, yeah, you gotta have something to work with.
You got to have a real source of pain in order for it to make yourself like funny.
At the darkness.
It doesn't work to go up there. So I've got a pretty good marriage.
So my life is great. I have lots of money.
I don't really have anything to complain about, but
you know what? No, I feel like there's somebody that could make that work. I feel like
Neil
there is a mundanity that can make that work. Like laughing at the mundane is also like, but you have to be so good. And the thing is that so many people who are funny, they don't want to take that moment to make a stupid face or to be seen as not cool. And motherfucker, none of us are cool. The people who are cool in society are manufactured to be cool. You remember Obama's mom jeans? You remember that shit? Obama is not cool.
Or him throwing his first pitch.
Yeah, Obama is not cool. Michelle Obama is graceful and delightful and wise. She's not cool.
But she's still a mom. Yeah.
Yeah, she is the the perfection of grandeur, but she's not cool. Come on.
She's head of the fucking local PTO is what she is.
She's wonderful. She's just not cool. And
even put Barry himself, Barack Obama, he wouldn't be somebody to be like, hey, I really want to get a beer with this guy because like you fucking dork.
I mean, think about when you're with your friends, and I mean, just one of my favorite things is when I do something dumb or I'm bad at a thing. Like I'm a pretty good cook. I try the really difficult recipes, and some of them I can nail, and if I don't get it, I keep trying. One thing I cannot do for my life is flip a goddamn egg. A fried egg. Cannot flip a fucking fried egg.
See, there's a lot of comedy.
And there is. That's a pretty good one. But like one of my favorite things to do is to look somebody in the face and go, I'm good at other things. Like don't be afraid to be the fool, because the fool is in all of us. We're all ridiculous monkeys in fucking shoes, man.
As much as we want to claim to be experts in things, no, we suck at 99% of everything else we try at. Like I've been cooking
we're terrible.
For fucking, oh man, at least since I was like 7. So I've got like 30 years of cooking now. Fuck, I'm old. Where I even realize I still can't flip an egg right sometimes. Like,
no, I fail every time.
Man.
My breakfast potatoes are delightful. They are fried in bacon. They're spiced, like they're just nice. They're kind of spicy.
Yeah,
but they're not too spicy. I can cook like a motherfucker, and I can't flip a fucking egg.
You know,
every time I'm like, no.
The trick, the secret that
flip an egg.
The trick and the secret to flipping an egg perfectly every single time.
Yeah.
Scramble it first.
See, look,
and then it doesn't, and then it doesn't fucking matter.
I flipped an omelet, you guys. I flipped an omelet. Oh, I made these beautiful omelets. They were fluffy and flat, like they were perfect. I made these gorgeous. I can't flip a fried egg. Like it's the least thing you do to any food, and you just kick, pack, salt, pepper, and then you go, and that's it. And I can't do it.
Like, are we talking like not even like shaking the skillet and then flipping the fucking thing and having the egg flop over on the other side?
If I shake the skillet, I break the yolk. Every goddamn time. It just turns into a mess, and then I get stressed out, and you get me on the wrong day, and I'm crying. It's a mess. It's a mess. I can't flip
You may not be waiting it. You may not be giving it long enough.
No, you definitely need to make sure it's hard set on one side before you flip it.
But every time I do that, then it's cooked through half the way, and I want the runny yolk in the middle, and then I cook it through half. Oh, reduce my temperature to what? What do I reduce my temperature to? Because if I reduce it too low, then it just like cooks through slow cooking.
Look here, honey. I have an electric stove, so I can't quite tell you what temperature to cook it at.
Fucking hate.
Because I'm essentially cooking every meal that I have on a fucking George Foreman range. It's fucking ridiculous.
I can make carbonara. I make a goddamn gorgeous. I have made a 5-cheese mac and cheese with bacon bits and chives on the top, and it's like, God damn it, Felicia. Holy shit, this is good. Like, I've had people stop and go, wow. And then I go to flip an egg and I'm like, fuck everything. I hate the world.
Well, I guess that just mainly goes to your strengths in, which is exactly like comedy should be. You go to what your strengths are, you know?
And don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself because it's fucking ridiculous.
And oh God, is it liberating to make an ass of yourself? Oh, is it so good?
It really is. You take yourself less seriously.
accept failure and scramble your eggs.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. Yeah. Don't expect a standing ovation every time you go on stage. You know. Here's the big thing, people. As long as you're getting paid to be on the stage, it doesn't matter how well you do.
But I think there's a certain value in putting yourself out there. But
the thing is, like, there is a direct correlation between like depression and comedians out there. I mean, most comedians are severely fucking depressed people, but that's how they deal with their shitty life. Is they decide to go on stage and talk to people about it, you know?
The last thing I'm going to say is don't blame the audience. If you weren't funny, it's not the audience's fault, guys.
No, if you have more than 10 people that have actually deigned to come to your fucking show and you can't make at least 3 of them chuckle, that's your fault.
Oh, and if you're
can go on stage and be like shampoo, and you can get like 3 people laughing at that, but no, if you can't get people laughing
I once saw Tig. She's been on the Sarah Silverman show. She's a stand-up comedian. She's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
She cracked me up one time by pushing a squeaky chair across the stage. Like, that's all she did. But like the way it was, her mannerisms, it was her way. She was like, hey. And she give you a look.
So, yeah, we'll definitely have to post any kind of YouTubes we get of anybody doing the open mic.
Yeah, and if you go do open mic, keep in mind that, at least bare minimum, half the audience there is also there for open mic, and they probably hate you before you even get up on stage.
Exactly.
So
well,
anyway, that's been enough.
Charming as shit, motherfucker.
Yeah, we're gonna cut it here because, man, it's been a long night of recording. Between technical difficulties and recording, it's almost 2 a.m. and we don't normally do this, but anyway, we're gonna go to bed. We'll catch you guys again next week with another episode.
Indeed.
Take it easy, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you.